I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away, wonder this time where she's gone. Wonder if she's gone today. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away.
Hey, what's up? It's Mike Sandy, and you are listening to my show, your show, in our show, the CLE Show. I got a bunch of new music today. I have a couple of interviews for ya. My first interview is a phone interview with Blind Joel Wallace. He is a former resident of Cleveland who moved to Austin, Texas recently. This week he's coming out with a new single with Tropidelic, so check that out later on in the show. Also, I sat down at Arts Pub this week with Dreadlock Dave, talked about his upbringing in music and his new album. Check it out on iTunes or dreadlockdave.com. It's called Shine. Great dude. Had a good talk with him. First up this week is A Killer's Confession. You're listening to the CLE Show.
Emotionless and cold, each moment suffocates the light. So where do I go on from here? Drowning in chaos, pain and fear. I walk forever down the line. It fills me up with wine and words. I'm pushed away. I'm damned to be the last right here. So if I can't take flight, I need the will to fight. And with my demons I deny the angel on the outside. And when the sky turns black, there is no turning back the light. And with my demons I deny the angel on the outside. This loneliness is all I know. This emptiness consoles. Within the silence I can't hear. So where do I go on from here? When all I've loved is disappeared, I walk forever down the line. It fills me up with wine and in words. I'm pushed away. to fight, and with my demons I deny the angel on the outside. And when the sky turns black, there is no turning back the light. And with my demons I deny the angel on the outside. So if I can't take flight, I need the will to fight. And with my demons I deny the angel on the outside. And when the sky turns black, there is no turning back the light. And with my demons I deny the angel on the outside. Wake up in fear again. The body's stuck in a state of unrest. I am constantly longing for concrete attention, wishing I'd acknowledge progress. Save the shipper. These hands won't stop shaking. My head keeps erasing the memories I'm making. This time I'll find it in myself to reach out and buff it out. When I had no one else to run to, you cared for me and I never got to thank you. Then I found someone to turn to, but I still choose you. Explain yourself, godless. My actions are selfish. I'm nothing but a body in the way. I've been sitting so broken, bothered and frightened, existing to only be thrown away. I pulled the trigger. These hands won't stop shaking. I'm not sure I'm feeling anymore. This time I'll find it in myself to reach out and buff it out. When I had no one else to run to, you cared for me and I never got to thank you. Then I found someone to turn to, but I still choose you. Brush on dirt from my shoulder, determined is what it's all. Thought I did this for me, but I only made for you. And I gave you my entire self. I remember your perfect voice. I won't forget that sound. Oh no, I won't forget that sound. I won't forget that sound. you cheating me and our family. Now the price to pay is yours and I am guilt-free. Never give in to you again. This is the life I'm meant to live. I was too blind to see. You should have been nothing. Now I'm following into your sin. I drove through hell while I was burning alive. I closed my wings, I kept you by my side. Whoa, whoa, controlled by the fire. Whoa, whoa, controlled by the fire. Controlled by fire. Controlled by fire. Gave in to your I drove through hell while I was burning alive. I closed my wings and I kept you by my side. Whoa, whoa, controlled by fire. Controlled by fire. Controlled by fire. Controlled by
Check, check. This isn't even fucking plugged into anything.
Not a bad way to spend the Sunday.
You're an inanimate fucking object!
You're listening to the CLE Show.
No, fuck off.
Repent for all that was lost. Countless lives taken, no matter the cost. Many slain by your hand, relentless. Blood stains the ground, regretless. Prayers going unanswered. With bloodlust you become enamored. Rising above, I'll never quit. It's about time I end this shit. Blood stains the hidden veil. The reputation of the cave's failed. All of us is a dark tendency. I can't believe your fucking tenacity. The flow of the river runs dry. The demons taking from your blood, taking from what you say. A blind dismay, hell is all you'll pay and try to pay. Your desire for death goes unmet.
I am here today on the phone with Joel Covender of many, many different projects. What's going on, man?
Man, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Talking to a good friend on the phone. Joel and I go way back. We've known each other for a lot of years. We used to play music in each other's bands when somebody would quit or we'd kick somebody out or
right. Yeah, that was probably the most free I ever was in a band was with Apollo. You guys let me pop up for practice and then just come up and shred with you on stage. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, you actually played our last Apollo show with us at Musica in Akron.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. And then you pretty much dove headfirst into Drunken Sunday.
Yeah, we had it going on for a little while, and I was doing stuff with you, and I was doing stuff with our other friends in Akron, the band Colored People. Actually, that's how I got connected with Tropidelic, was filling in for them on bass and opening up for Tropidelic in Oliver Hall. And around that time, Drunken Sunday really started to kick off and moved to Kent, and that was huge for us, being out there in that college town, and really started to get a good following.
Well, I know that you were going out to the Ledges a lot, and you got a lot of hookups out there. Tell me about the first time that you ended up playing there.
So I've been going to the Nelson Ledges since 2006, and man, it was probably 8 years later, something like that, when we played our first show there. We were on Badfish. And this is one of my favorite times in the whole career of Drunken Sunday. We had flyers made that said we had free beer available during our set, and we were playing Saturday afternoon, the first set. And we run around the woods with these flyers for free beer if you come up there. And we had a couple people that bought kegs and cases, and we had a huge crowd there during the day. Everybody wanted free beer, of course. And the band we were going to tap the kegs right when we started, and the band after us didn't show up, so they pushed our set back an hour. And we just sat there on the front of the stage giving away free beer for an hour before a set. And by the time we started, all of the beer was gone. We had a massive crowd.
That's awesome, man. So you've been doing a couple other things, working with some different people. I know you just moved down to Austin, Texas, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you were born and raised in the Cleveland area.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what really prompted the move to Texas, I guess?
Well, there was a lot of stuff going on in my personal life and with the band last summer. Our last original member, besides myself, was going to leave in the fall to go to school. And I had a big decision to make what to do moving forward. And realized it was probably a good time to take a break from having a big group and trying to see what I can do on my own. And a buddy of mine lives down here in Austin. And originally, I was going to move to Colorado. And I talked to my buddy in Austin, and he said he would come pick me up, and I'd have a good place to live. He was telling me all about the city and the music scene out here. And it was pretty much a no-brainer for me to do it and really take a chance on seeing what I could do out here.
And it's like right after you ended up working with Tropidelic under this new name, Blind Joel Wallace.
Yes.
And I mean, I just recently heard this track that you haven't released yet that we're going to hear on the show here shortly. But, dude, I mean, it's very introspective. I really like the feel of it. It has just that old school, like, groove to it.
Mm-hmm. So, excuse me. There's a few things that led me to this whole project. I did a solo show for a while the past couple of years under the name Dr. Funk. And then I decided to change it to Blind Joel Wallace when I found out that my great-grandfather had the last name Wallace, and his child had his mother's maiden name, and that's why I'm a Covender. So I was like, that kind of hit me, and I was like, that's going to be my stage name. For the last 2 years, one of my best friends, Ashley Roberts, has been bugging me to do a rap album. And when I decided to go solo, I was like, all right, let's do this. And spent the last few months in Ohio recording this hip-hop album.
So that's what the whole project is primarily, is like a hip-hop thing?
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of different flavors in it. Some of the stuff sounds like Drunken Sunday. And some of it, I played all the instruments and did the producing myself, and then some of it I had other producers. One of my favorites in Cleveland, Savage Royale, Derek Willis is a drummer used to be the drummer of Tropidelic. He actually plays drums on the single Brothers Keeper. We'll be hearing a little bit.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm definitely excited to hear more Blind Joel Wallace stuff. If this is what you're going to be starting with, I can't imagine what's coming next, man. It's awesome stuff.
You made a good observation about it being introspective. There's a lot of stuff on this album that's very revealing, very honest lyrics. And the title track of the album, Who is Joel Wallace, is a life story pretty much. It's telling the story of the early part of my life that a lot of people who know me now don't really know about. It doesn't really come up in conversation. So it's going to be a pretty revealing album.
Well, good. That's what I like to hear. I don't like that, watered down bullshit, Joel.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? I'm honest in my lyrics. The song I wrote last spring when I lost a couple of my old friends to their battle with addiction. And it's something that's happened to me a lot over the past maybe 4 or 5 years. Every year it happens multiple times, and I see it happen to friends of friends, and it's something that a lot of us are dealing with. And when I wrote this song, it was kind of the way that I was able to grieve for these friends of mine. And it's really heavy stuff. It touches on a lot of different emotions that go along with it. The first verse is just kind of like looking back on and reminiscing about, where we were with the people that we love. The second verse is about blaming everybody, and that's kind of like the knee-jerk reaction when you lose somebody is to blame, the dealers or the system, pharmaceutical companies, all this stuff. But nobody really points the finger at what they could have done as an individual who, cares about this person. And then the third verse is a lot about, how numb you get to it when it happens so often. So like the big thing with this song is trying to encourage people to be there. When you see somebody who's going through these struggles, I'm not saying go out and give them money and stuff like that, but just be there as a positive influence on these people's lives, because they need that more than anything. And it could save, our friends' lives if we just are more active. And instead of cutting people out of your life because their lifestyle doesn't gel with yours, just to get that phone call years later that they're dead, people should just be more active in being positive influences in our loved ones' lives who are struggling with these things.
Oh, I absolutely agree, man. I absolutely agree. Well, I would love to hear this deep story that you have going on. Would you like to introduce my brother's keeper for the very first time ever?
Yes, sir. How do you do that? Listeners of the CLE Show, I give to you Brother's Keeper featuring Tropidelic by Blind Joel Wallace.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're welcome anytime. If you ever venture back to Cleveland, you got a spot with me, buddy.
Hey, as a matter of fact, before I go, Freak Stomp Festival in Medina in August. It's Tropidelic's festival. Blind Joel Wallace will be coming back to Ohio to perform at that. So,
well, guess who's coming with you?
Mr. Sandy. Superstorm Sandy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Freak Stomp Festival in August. Get your tickets. Afro Man will be there.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, we'll definitely be updating everybody on that.
Awesome.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right, thanks, brother.
Thank you so much, Joel, for setting us up with your track first. Here's My Brother's Keeper by Blind Joel Wallace featuring Tropidelic. You're listening to the CLE Show.
Every day more time goes by, but not one more day is ever gonna be the same. Staring into a clouded sky, calling out your name with just a few thoughts on my mind.
Nobody knew you like I did from back when we were some youngers. Steady thugging like we're grown and always trying to do something. Don't know how we got away with living careless and crazy, blacking out and waking up ready again for the same thing. Some of us now wish a memory would have been for you too. You never stopped until the end and I remember you. We never saw this coming, now we gotta lay you to sleep. Rest in peace, I promise always do the best and I'll be my brother's keeper.
Every day more time goes by, but not one more day is ever gonna be the same. Staring into a clouded sky, calling out your name with just a few thoughts on my mind.
Blame the dealer in the shadows, slanging junk to our friends. Blame the pharma companies that kill us all for their ends. Blame the cops for cracking down on misdemeanors like cannabis. Blame the system that refused to find the right way to handle this. Blame my friends for being selfish, killing themselves. Blame the whole damn world and then look at yourself and ask, what did I do to help?
Every day more time goes by, but not one more day is ever gonna be the same. Staring into a clouded sky, calling out your name with just a few thoughts on my mind.
Hard to be strong when they're dropping like flies. See a circle thinning with their demise. Losing the fight to care when you always see it there. Another day, another death, there's no tears left to spare. We understood your struggle, yet we abandoned our brother. You lost the battle, but you never lost the way that we love. You know I can hear your voice when friends falter to evil. Be the one to be my brother's keeper.
Every day more time goes by, but not one more day is ever gonna be the same. Staring into a clouded sky, calling out your name with just a few thoughts on my mind. Every day more time goes by, but not one more day is ever gonna be the same. Staring into a clouded sky, calling out your name with just a few thoughts on my mind.
Attention book lovers! Are you tired of shopping the big box stores? I sure am. I hate those places. Do you long for the cozy feel of a local bookshop? Especially if it's Lakewood? Yeah, definitely. The bookshop in Lakewood is for you! It's definitely for me. They've just moved to offer a more community-friendly shopping experience. It's a family business. They will be having a grand reopening in April. Follow them on Facebook for updates and events and the grand reopening celebration. Look them up on Facebook at The Bookshop in Lakewood. They do have a cat. His name is Hobbs. A familiar name from my childhood. I might just change my name to Calvin and start living there. Come to the bookshop in Lakewood. It's the only place you really need to go for books. Go for the books, stay for the cat, leave with a mutual respect for each other.
Standing in the front yard of a house filled with ghosts, nothing inside. The dense overgrowth is creeping towards the window pane. The bedroom where I lost my name, and that's where our story ends. Curl up in the front seat, riding shotgun beside what you receipt. This is no normal driving, his tail is tucked in nervously. He looks for comfort, looks to me. He's master and his friend. You were running down this road, but there's still so far to go. So follow that line, even with no end in sight. Just because you're running doesn't mean you're running away. So take a new road, follow it home, revel and ramble, right and wrong. And just because you're running doesn't mean you're running away. Sleeping in the back room, just a mat on the floor. 26 days till I stand at your door, 'cause the road can take the strongest man and leave him low with empty hands. And tonight I can't pretend. So we're running down this road, but there's still so far to go. So follow that line, even with no end in sight. Just because you're running doesn't mean you're running away. So take a new road, follow it home, revel and ramble, right and wrong. Just because you're running doesn't mean you're running away from everything you've known and where you've been. Away and into the unknown, start again. Away from all the shadows, chase the sun and shed your skin. But you know that at the end we're coming home. So we're running down this road, but there's still so far to go. But we know that at the end we're coming home. So follow that line, even with no end in sight. Just because you're running doesn't mean you're running away. So take a new road, follow it home, rebel and ramble, right and wrong. Just because you're running doesn't mean you're running away. So take a new road, follow it home, rebel and ramble, right and wrong. But your pretty smile's been here a while and I can't get enough. Whoa, dear, I need time to think. 'Cause this dizzy spell I'm under, well, it's not the drinks. Oh, oh, oh. Your jukebox soul's got me dancing right out of control. Your jukebox soul's got me dancing right out of control. Oh, 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 pretty please, stay next to me. I watch your body so damn close that we make heat. Oh my God, is that her you like? Well, I've got the cure. I'm just like her with twice the bite. Your jukebox soul's got me dancing right out of control. Your jukebox soul's got me dancing right out of control. Oh, oh, your jukebox soul's got me dancing right out of control.
We get it almost every night, and that moon gets big and bright. We get it almost every night, and that moon gets big and bright. We get it almost every night, and that moon gets big and bright. We get it almost every night, and that moon gets big and bright. We get it.
I am sitting here today in Art's Pub in Fairview Park with Dreadlock Dave. How are you today, man?
Hey, what's up, Mike? How's everything?
Everything is fantastic. How's life been since the album release?
Since the album release has been great, and prior to it has been pretty good too.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sorry I missed your album release, man. I came down with some real brutal sickness.
Yeah.
And I wasn't trying to spread it around in the music community of all places.
Dig that, man. Yeah, no, I've avoided it, like I said, this winter, but yeah, it's all good. Thanks for trying.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're feeling better, man.
Well, thanks, man. It's good to sit down and actually have a face-to-face where you're not like worried about hopping on stage in 20 minutes too, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's a little more. I'm off today, so this is a relaxed day for me, you know.
Well, the first time I actually saw you, you were playing with a band called Stoned and Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Still am.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it was probably about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago.
Do you remember where it was?
It was at the Symposium.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow, man. You were like one of 6 people in the audience that night. I think. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It was. I really liked that dynamic that you had with that band.
Yeah, it's a fun band. I mean, you know, I play in a whole bunch of different bands, different lineups, solo gigs, and this basically bass player for hire. But that particular band, you know, it's a power trio, if you will.
Yeah.
And you know, we jam it out. So it's we do have songs, but a lot of it's just like improvisational jamming and you know cruising.
Right.
You know?
That's cool. That's the best way to play with friends.
Yeah, you know, it's one of my favorite gigs that I'm involved with. So it's I've played with the drummer on and off for almost 20 years.
Oh wow.
So like we have this lock. I call him the Rock, John Smith the Rock, and Josh Laird is the singer-songwriter on guitar. Myself and John have had a long groovy relationship as a rhythm section.
Hell yeah. So how'd you guys meet?
Believe it or not, we were looking for a drummer, and so I'm like, you know, give me a sign. Like I was asking the universe for a sign. Who should I pick? So the same day that he called, I had been shopping for at the time, and this was 20 years ago. So you could walk into like your Best Buy and get a answering machine. And, you know, and they had all the regular landline phones on display.
Right.
Well, every single one of them said, you know, 1-800-123-4567 John Smith, you know, was the name on the label. So, like, I'm like, give me a sign, universe. And I walk into Best Buy, and it's like John Smith's name is flashing at me. And this is John Smith, who is the drummer that I've played with for all these many years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've been in multiple projects with him then?
Yeah, several different projects.
So I was kind of creeping on your website a little bit, and I read your bio. You've been in music for a very long time.
Yeah, basically my whole life.
Yeah. So tell me about your dad. He was in a quartet?
Yeah, he sang barbershop music, and growing up, that's all I would hear. I either heard the Indians or Browns game on the radio or barbershop music. That's all that's all the audio sound that was going on in our house.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so but yeah, he was right here on the west side of Cleveland. He was the director of the North Olmsted Barbershop Chorus for many years, and then he had a quartet, but he'd been singing since he was 14 years old.
Oh wow.
And is still singing now at 74. So
that is incredible.
Yeah, he's still got a barbershop quartet in Sedona, Arizona. Yeah, well, actually, it's a chorus. He no longer has a specific quartet, but you know, they did all the contests and went to tried to get a quartet to go and win the big national contest of, you know, what it was called Spebsqua at the time, but it's like the barbershop, United States Barbershop Collective. You know,
that's cool. There's like a whole sect of music.
Yeah, and it still lives on. You know, it's like there's even I've seen some young kids like at the county fair or wherever. You know, they have a barbershop quartet where they're doing all these old like turn of the century tunes, a cappella 4-part harmony.
Right, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. A blast, man. And it was a great way to grow up, and it really embedded a deep sense of harmony. You know, and appreciation for music.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure it did. So how did you get into the rhythm side of it then? Because it's not harmony at all.
Yeah, right. It's another element of music, right?
Right.
Yeah, you know, I actually, you know, it was really, I guess I got to credit Gene Simmons, you know, because when I was a kid, it was like Kiss, wow, what's this?
Gene Simmons was the badass of the day.
He was a badass, man, you know, and so then I found out what instrument he played, and it was the bass guitar, and, you know, eventually that's where I ended up, you know, like serious about playing rock and roll. Or
so Gene Simmons is your favorite bassist?
No, not anymore. No. He was just this like the grain of sand that started the avalanche, you know.
That introduction.
Yeah. I mean, I still have much respect for him as a businessman, and like the early Kiss records, I still every once in a while, maybe once a year, I'll pull them out and listen to my favorite cuts from, you know, the 70s Kiss, but you know, generally yeah, he's definitely nowhere near the top of my favorite bass player list now. You know. interesting guy, man.
Oh yeah, tons of scandals and all sorts of shit.
Yeah. I mean, like I've read his books and I've watched plenty of interviews, and I mean he's just he's a marketing genius, and
well, he turned his nerd band into rock stars.
Exactly, his total nerd band, like comic book superhero nerding out,
right?
And made it a reality. And his whole thing, and I've heard him say it over and over, but it's like he wanted to, they as a group wanted to see the band that they didn't ever see on stage. There's make this big spectacle, and he succeeded obviously, because they're like almost 45 years in or beyond now, and still making money, and
right.
So, the output of quality rock and roll has diminished, for many years, but it was still, for me at the time, and for a lot of people, it was like Kiss was, it was hip, man.
So, what is your favorite era of rock then?
My favorite era of rock is definitely like 65 to 75.
Okay.
It's a big stretch, and everything that happened there.
There's so much introduced in that time period.
Yeah. The whole, electric aspect of everything was really just changing, and sounds, synthesizer sounds, and all kinds of crazy. I mean, you just think about, in that period, you went from like a 2-track recording to a 24 or maybe more. I don't know. In the mid 70s, they were at least at 24 tracks.
Right.
So like you had incredible, revolutionary changes in the way music was recorded and the way it was made because of the developments in technology and electronic instruments and all that.
Well, speaking of that, I saw that a lot of the instrumental stuff that you have behind what you're singing is you, especially in your solo stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, all of my solo releases are me. It's 100% me. So I've played, every instrument on the record or programmed it to be what I wanted it to be.
Right, and that's, I mean, the beauty of music now.
Yeah,
that you can literally create whatever sound pops into your head.
Yeah, totally.
On the spot and make it a part of your music.
It's changed. I mean, just in my lifetime, the way I recorded my first demo, I used to have these cassette. They were like portable cassette players. A speaker on one end with the cassette door, and then the row of buttons on the other end, and a little handle. And then you could buy
the little microphone.
Right, you could buy the microphone.
It was like a Bob Barker mic.
Right, exactly. Right.
Yeah, dude, I had one of those.
Nice. But it was or it was built in right into the machine there.
Right,
Well, so I recorded my first track of guitar on the first cassette deck, and I had my brother had another one, so I used his, and then I positioned the first cassette deck close enough so that first track of guitar would be equivalently loud as my bass part that I was going to lay down. So the second cassette deck was recording my live bass and then the pre-recorded cassette of my guitar track. So that was my first demo using 2 separate cassette decks.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's how everybody should start. If you're going to record music, you need to start with nothing and just figure it out along the way.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need to do to make this sound, as professional as possible with 2 tape recorders?
Right. And, I mean, I was like, 16, 17 years old at the time trying to figure out how to record, because there was no way. I mean, I didn't ever think in my lifetime that I was going to be in a studio and record an album.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let alone have my own studio that I can, turn on it with the flip of a switch 24/7 and go in and create to my, whatever I want to do.
Right.
It's amazing because, you started with those 2 cassette decks, then a 4-track, then an 8-track, then a digital 16-track, then, finally got into the computer software and now, it basically, if you own a Mac or, a laptop of some sort, you got a portable studio right there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you see
GarageBand is here. That. Yeah, right, exactly.
And I'm using software that I'm not even going to admit that I use because I'd get made fun of if I did. But I mean, it's, you can have a studio wherever. I was just in Guitar Center like 2 or 3 days ago, and they have a Mac, like one of those it looks like a hockey puck with a screen.
Yes, yes.
And it literally says on the box, recording studio in a box.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's all you need.
Yeah, totally.
And it comes loaded with like 40 different softwares that all cost like $400 or $500 a piece.
Right.
You know, easy if you went and got a hard copy of it.
Yeah.
You know, anybody could record their own music. It's just, how do you arrange it?
Yeah,
that's going to be different from the next guy.
Right, right. You know, and what it ends up sounding like, because there's still all kinds of different, you know, I mean, there's so many different recording techniques still that are, it's, you know, I think it's unlimited, or, you know, I don't think you could ever discover, you know, everything. It's just that there's not enough time in a human life to figure out all the different ways to make something sound. And a lot of it's experimentation. You know, I just had a friend who he ended up setting his drums up down in the corridor in Mansfield prison, the old prison, and recording his drums. So it's like this huge giant reverb echo chamber effect, you know, like but it's amazing that, you know, you could just go someplace, even if it's just a microphone and capturing an acoustic instrument.
Right.
It's like you know, it's amazing. It's the possibilities are endless. And now with digital manipulation of those acoustic sounds, it just, you know, it's
literally
exponentially.
Anything. Right.
You know?
Anything is possible.
Yeah, right.
Like any of the craziest weird sounds that I mean, I've heard some songs, man, that if you took out the individual instrumental parts and just broke them down piece by piece to what they are, they're just noise.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you put them all together in the right way.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Exactly.
You know, it's insane.
Right. It's amazing.
Well, cheers, man. Here's to making great music by ourselves.
Yeah, right. Exactly, man. Exactly. With the help of no one.
With the help, well, it's the help of the people. I think the music community around it, you know.
Sure. Yeah, people, I mean, who are going to appreciate the art of the recording. Right. Yeah, or, you know, whoever. But yeah, absolutely. But, you know, I mean, I do like both. You know, I mean, I love the live environment. That's why I play so much.
Right.
But,
well, it's if you've done that more, like I've played on so many different stages, and I'm so comfortable on stage, man. I get into a vocal box, it's never the same.
Yeah, right.
You never get comfortable in there because you've done it 4, 5, 6 times, you know.
Yeah.
Depending on what level of musician you are, you know.
Right. Right.
You know, I've been in that situation 5 times. You know, I can count on one hand, and it's always a struggle because it's not my element.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like the live sound is the best sound.
Yeah.
In my opinion. That's why, dude, I really enjoyed seeing Stone and Beautiful.
Oh, nice, man. Thanks again. Yeah, appreciate that.
But yeah, man, I totally agree with you. The live thing is, I mean, it's a way of life almost. You know?
Yeah.
I don't understand the whole session musician thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's different. And, you know, nowadays you have people that will never leave their bedroom. It's like they're being successful musicians, and their art is being consumed by the public at large. You know, with YouTube and the advent of the internet and the individual people out there, you know, want to express themselves. But you know, there's this, and I can't remember the name of her program, but I you know, I've come across it online where she says that she makes a living.
Yes.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah,
it's the
like the
savvy
fake redheaded
musician.
chick?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's Celtic metal. That's what it is.
Right. I've gone to check out her website.
Right.
But I mean, she says she's making like, you know, I don't even know, $10,000 or $20,000 a month sometimes.
Right.
Never playing a show.
Right.
And that's amazing that you could do that if in fact that's true.
If you're a marketing genius, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But I mean, you need to have some serious cash, you know, to sink into it first before you're getting that kind of return.
Who knows how she did it, really? You know what I mean? I've never sat through one of her seminars or anything, but or given my $9.99 or whatever the hell it was. You know? But
that's how she's making all the
right.
money.
I know. Well, you know, I mean, that's part of her music gig, right? Is she actually selling her Celtic metal? I don't know, man. But yeah. So, but the point being that, you know, that's one way to get music and out into the world. Just like, but there's something about being in a room, specifically with other people. But even so, when I play a solo gig, it's like you get this immediate reaction from people. Regardless of whether it's your own music or a cover, there's this human interaction, and that's actually what started me in the playing local bars and playing in cover bands. Was one of the first gigs. This guy comes up to me, and I don't even remember what we were playing. And, he probably was, a 12-pack in at the time. Right. But he came up to me, and he was just completely so head over heels thankful for us playing our music. And it was just cover music or jams or whatever we were doing at the time. And I'm like, wow, you mean I get this kind of, thanks and, how much better could it be? Someone come up and saying that you made my day.
They appreciate your art.
They not like you were the best thing that happened to me today. And I get paid and I get a few free beers. And, you know what I mean? I'm like, so that's actually, I'm like, this seems like a win-win. So that's what started me in my professional music career in my early 20s. I was like, all right, man, this seems like a cool gig to me.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So is the internet helping or killing music?
Oh man, I don't know. It's such it's awesome because I've made a little money, not a few $1,000s on my original music over 10 years or whatever that I've been pushing that stuff. But so I can still do that. But as far as I don't know where it's going, man. It's an incredible time.
It's tough to say.
Yeah.
Is everything just... I mean, there was an article recently about a band that was on tour. They were a more popular metal band, and the guitarist is just pissed off because he has to work a normal job.
Yeah.
Even though they're popular and they're out on tour. Tours are expensive. People don't go out to shows like they used to because... that's a Netflix thing.
Yeah.
It's easier to watch Netflix than go to a show.
Yeah.
Everybody gets it. I mean, you got to have a real passion and commitment to, go support, bands outside of your living room.
Totally.
Because you can just buy their shit on iTunes or Bandcamp or, wherever.
Right.
And they're still making something, but at the same time, how much of that are they actually making? The real money comes, going to the shows where the bands are getting paid by the bar, by their merch sales, whatever. But, they're trying to put out music and it needs to be paid for.
Yeah.
Unless they're doing it themselves, which still they got to pay for the program to do it.
Right. And the time, it's time and effort and all that. I don't know, there's for me, because I do so much of both. I'm I create original music, I write original music, I play in original bands, but then I also play in multiple cover bands and solo gigs and bar gigs and restaurants, so it's I've had to kind of try to balance those two. I've been really lucky to be able to just be involved in music for over 25 years now. So I mean, this is how I made my living for the last 25 years.
That's incredible.
But it's only because of whoring out these, if I play Brown Eyed Girl or Mustang Sally or play that funky music one more time, I might explode. But I'll still do it because,
that's what the paycheck comes from.
Well, it's what makes the patrons happy.
Yeah.
And if the patrons are happy at a bar, they're drinking, they're partying, they're having a good time, they're going to stay and have another one, which is going to make the bar happy, So your beer salesman is what it comes down. Beer and food salesman, you know what I mean? or atmosphere, you know what I mean?
Right.
In most of these gigs, that's probably 75% of my gigs out of the thousands and thousands. I mean, I don't even know where I'm at. I should probably sit down and try to calculate how many maybe gigs that I've played in 25 years, but it's probably close to 10,000 gigs, So I've there was one year I did over 300 gigs in the year.
Dude, I don't know how you can stand after doing all that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of music.
It is a lot of music. And you know, those were that year, that was right before the crash happened, and it seemed like everybody was partying. But, you know, like I made more money that year than I have maybe every year, you know, since and before, but I was, you know, like I said, it was playing 300 gigs. You know, there was 1 month I had 35 shows. You know, it was like every day plus a double header. But, you know, you're still only making like below poverty line income. You know what I mean? But it's been sufficient thus far.
Right.
Well, I mean, I've been lucky. You know.
Yeah. I mean, you're one of the few that have made it work.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a long time to just sustain on music.
Yeah. You know, and teaching too. You know, I've that's a portion of my income too. So I've become a teacher of all kinds. You know, and session work too. I've done, you know, session work over the years, but you know, having like, you know, 10 different musical irons in 10 different fires is the way I've been able to do it.
Stretched thin.
Yeah.
Loving every moment of it, though.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, exactly, man. You know, it's like I haven't had to punch a clock, answer to anyone. You know what I mean? I take the gigs I want, or, you know, it's like it's always been like first come, first serve. So if I'm booked with someone, I just go for it and, you know, book, you know, play wherever. And then, you know, for a long time, I had a couple original bands that I was working pretty hard. So we were doing like the festival circuit, and a lot of summer gigs and the jam band scene network. So, you know, we were the house band at Nelson Ledges for, you know, many years. And
that's a tough gig, man.
Yeah. So, but it was great. Yeah, exactly, man. So, fortunately, I live right down the road, so it was really easy, man, for me.
Nice.
Because I could end up in my bed, whether it was like, you know, 3 or 6 o'clock in the morning or whenever it was. Man. But, yeah, you know, so like, I've done both, you know, and I just feel really lucky to be able to, you know, have played music and made music and taught music for a living for so long.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, tell me a little bit about the new album.
Yeah, that's all new stuff that I put together in the last couple of years, and you know, have programmed and played all the instruments on there. And
well, we've been playing the shit out of Lemonade.
Oh, nice, man. Thanks.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Cool.
I love it.
Cool.
At first, the first time I heard it, I'm like, oh, this has like a really like 9 Inch Nails type of vibe to it. And then I like really listened to it. I'm like, damn, look at that bass line.
Nice.
That bass line, man.
Cool.
It's some good shit.
Cool.
So we're going to take a listen to that real quick, and we're going to be right back with Dreadlock Dave. You're listening to the CLE Show. Hang on. right, I am back with Dreadlock Dave here at Arts Pub in Fairview Park. It is a beautifully cold and wintry day today.
Yeah, it is.
It is fucking cold, man.
It's not bad really for Cleveland though.
Dude, they told us like 3 days ago, oh, don't worry, Tuesday it's going to be 75 and it's going to rain all day with thunderstorms. They didn't tell us anything about this windstorm bringing winter back.
Yeah. It's never bothered me. I like we were just saying. I'm Cleveland born and raised, man. So I'm here, whether bad or good.
Yeah, he just told me he was born in the same hospital I was. We were both born in Fairview Hospital. I live in Fairview Park. He grew up in Olmsted Falls and North Olmsted.
Yeah.
And
natives are getting restless, man.
They are getting restless, but they're watching the Tribe game, so I totally understand.
Right.
Totally understand. See, these are the days that we live for in Cleveland, right when the season starts.
Yeah, man.
Man, I love baseball. Do you love baseball?
I'm a fair weather sports fan, but because, I played all of them in junior high and high school. I played hockey, got my varsity letter in hockey, but I
didn't realize anybody played hockey around here.
Yeah, it's kind of a little on the DL, man, but it's we were like the Bad News Bears of hockey teams, Olmsted Falls High School, and but yeah, it was cool. But I basically I'm rooting for the home team regardless,
Right.
And I've always found that if the sports teams are doing well, everybody's out partying, and they're hiring the bands more. And, you know what I mean? So it's like it works hand in hand. But
so you're not much of a Browns guy at the moment, I take it.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I really totally fair weather. Like if they get close to winning the championship, I'll check in.
Right. Because that's when everybody's gonna be at work.
Yeah, right. I've been to one Indians baseball game in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
It
was 1983, and it was a doubleheader, and Crosby, Stills, and Nash played after the two games. So I was more pumped up about the band.
Wow, dude.
But
my first game was in 1995. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 1995, and I remember it because
they were killing it, right?
Oh, they were
at the time.
Killing it, man. It was like right in the middle of the season. Everybody knew that they were going to go on a playoff run.
Yeah.
My favorite player was Kenny Lofton. He was a badass back then. He's, wearing his hat backwards, creating the trend,
Right.
Like, such a great team. And, up until probably 10 years ago, that was like the only game in my life I'd gone to. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? I love this team. I love this city. And the Indians are normally killing it. So
right.
I got to get going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like literally a 20-minute rapid ride down the road.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I've just, I don't know, I've been so engulfed with music, since I just never and just watching it on TV. I don't watch TV, period, basically, you know. So for a long time I was in a major media void, like in the 90s, late 80s and early 90s, man. I didn't own a TV or anything. Actually, no, that's not true. I owned a TV with a VCR, with one VCR tape, which was Spinal Tap, which I watched over and over and over again. So I've seen that movie more than any other movie in the world. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 times.
Holy shit.
I mean, I would literally come home, zone out for an hour after the gig, and watch a little bit of Spinal Tap, and then go to bed. But yeah. But as far as the sports, I mean, I love Cleveland. I love all the sports teams. I want them to do well. And yeah, I've never been to a Browns game except one time, and that was in 1985. And I was playing in the marching band. It was a Pittsburgh Browns game, so it was 80,000 strong at the old Cleveland Stadium.
Nice.
And we got to play the halftime show.
That's awesome.
So that was a rush, man. It was
Hell
cool. And I don't even remember if the Browns won or not. You know what I mean? But it was a great time, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been a lot of places. I mean, you've played hundreds of shows.
Yeah, I mean, literally thousands, and into the 10,000s now. I think. I think.
So have you just stayed in the U.S. or have you traveled outside at all?
Yeah, no, I've mostly done, like the Midwest. Majority, I mean, 90% of my shows have been here in the Cleveland, Northeast Ohio area. But the other, I've traveled, around. We did an East Coast tour and a Midwest tour years ago, 10 years ago, with the Water Band, which was a previous group that I was running and making music with and having a good time out at Nelson Ledges with.
Hell yeah.
And then I've done some other touring in Europe as well with a couple different acts and recording projects.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I've been to did some recording in Italy with a great guitar player called Massimo Verini is his name, and you can check him out online, but he's great.
Massimo Verini.
Yes.
As Italian as it gets.
Yeah, exactly, man. he's kind of like he's like Italy's Steve Vai.
Really?
Yeah, he's like this really a shredder, but really
nice.
Melodic, cool kind of rock metal player.
Yeah.
But he's on all the covers of the Italian magazines over there.
Nice.
But and then we've done some recording in France, and we did a couple years ago, and this was with a project called the Answer Band. It's a positive message band that includes Neil Zaza on guitar. We've done some touring, and a couple years ago we went to Brazil and played 3 or 4 shows around Brazil, and that was just an incredible experience.
That's awesome. I was just talking to somebody about this, and Brazil is like where you go when you know that people are going to show up. Like music is a religion there.
Yeah,
they elevate musicians to like godlike status. It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I because it was such a short trip, I didn't like get a sense of that necessarily, but I know, I mean, just from several of my friends who have done long stints overseas, just almost everywhere overseas, you're treated as a respected member of the artistic community as a musician, whereas here, you're just like, whatever, man.
Hey, it's just another musician.
Another gig, man. Another long-haired, musician,
right,
with a guitar. But I can see that. I mean, it's because the American music culture is just so amazing. In the rock field, especially,
right.
And that is still reverberates around the world.
Well, I feel like the internet has a lot to do with it not being like that now. Like, you don't have bands. I mean, you have a couple bands here and there that are like elevated to where Kiss was, in the early 80s, where Van Halen was. I mean, you don't see that kind of stuff now, though.
Yeah.
You don't have these mega stars anymore.
Right.
So where do the influences come from now?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people go back, I mean, it's like my favorite. I mean, I came up in the 80s, but like my favorite decade is 10 years before me,
right?
Or even farther. Like that's the music that I enjoy the most. I think. I mean, I enjoy all kinds of music, and at this point in my life, I just want to hear something new. Like
right.
I don't want to rehash the same old, like. What they're playing on the radio in
right,
most
like
stations in the
20
Midwest.
bands are playing the exact same chord progression and laying different lyrics over top.
Yeah, and and it's okay if it's like, I think the chord progression, I don't go there first, but I just listen to like, what the sounds and like what the overall recorded composition makes me feel. So it's like recently I've been on this. German krautrock kick. It's all like psychedelic stuff from the late 60s.
That is so specific.
Yeah, it is, right. You know what I mean? So like there's all these like and because of the internet, there's all these like musical rabbit holes you can go down and explore all this new music that was recorded maybe before you were born, or you know what I mean, like 40, 50 years ago. And you know, that's the era that sounds the best to me. It's like when the bands of the late 60s and early 70s were basically recording live in the studio, you know, and it's like you can hear that and feel that, and the whole analog thing. And like I came up on vinyl, so it was like,
well, I start the show this week with some Bill Withers and Ain't No Sunshine.
Oh,
so,
nice.
You know, I try to weekly get these intros that have a little bit to do with how I'm feeling that week, and I've just been feeling that like old school music this week.
Cool.
You know.
Yeah, it's some of my favorite, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's where it all started. You know, what does music today basically graft itself from?
Yeah.
You know?
I guess, I mean, it's so eclectic. I mean, it's like spider webbing, man. You know what I mean? It's like, because as a listener or consumer of music, the palette can be just so diverse that you draw from, you know? So it's like, I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm still hearing new things, you know what I mean, that are going to influence me on my next recording or my next creative and musical endeavor, you know? It's just like,
and there in itself lies the beauty of the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it's a double-edged sword.
I think we won't know for some time. Like, humanity won't understand what the internet really is about until afterwards. You know what I mean? It's going to be like years or a couple generations perhaps down the road.
Like, all it was doing was just mining information for years and years and years just to control everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, you know, it could go that way.
Well, I just saw this article about how Facebook stock is plummeting right now just because they had to come out and admit that they're selling all the information from like 2 billion of their users.
Right.
You know, to third-party places. And
I mean, from me, what they're getting is they're getting my show dates that I played, some of my favorite beers, and me like cheering with my friends at the local bars. You know what I mean? That's about all the information, you know, and whatever I don't give a shit, basically. That's
kind of where I'm at. It's like you either got to accept it and live your life, or like wear a foil hat.
Yeah, right. You know? Yeah. And I like to do both sometimes. You know what I mean? It's like I have fun with it. I'm not afraid of anybody having information about what I do. You know what I mean? Because pretty much I am. You get what I am what you see, and you get what I am, and you know what I mean. It's like I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody, so I'm not fearful of the internet. You know. Taking over or them mining, you know, the information from me personally. But I get it, you know, privacy is, you want to maintain some level of privacy, I guess, you know what I mean?
Right.
But,
well, it's hard for people in music and media to really realize what that actually means, because their lives are really out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For the average person, they don't want people to know, you know, what kind of porn they're watching.
Right. I guess, man. I mean, you know, I could probably guess. You know what I mean? If I sat and talked to somebody for 5 minutes, I could probably guess what kind of porn they were watching. But you know, I mean, I guess it's strange, but it's more to me in my mind, and maybe it's just because I'm an optimist in general, but it's the internet is better for humanity than not.
I absolutely 100% agree. 100%. I've learned so much stuff on the internet. If there was no internet, I would never have known what the real American history is.
Right on. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where am I going to learn it?
Right.
Other than doing research on my own.
Yeah.
The library. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Go to the library, but who goes to the library? You got the world in your pocket.
Right.
They told us we would never have calculators in our pocket.
Yeah.
In math class.
Yeah.
They're fucking liars.
Right. Oh yeah, I know, man. Yeah. I you know, who knows what we'll have. I mean, it's incredible what I've seen in my lifetime. You know, I was born in '68, so Like I came up through the 70s and then all of a sudden the 80s and all that crazy shit.
So this year is the big year.
Yeah.
Oh man, has it
Big
happened
5-0,
yet?
man. No, November.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, half century, man.
There you go. Touring more than half of it, or at least playing out, right?
Yeah, playing out, making my living more than half my life.
Damn, dude. Well, congratulations and
thank
to you.
Thank you. Just one more thing about the internet, but the way I look at it is like never before in the history of the world has more like-minded people been able to gather, whatever the thought is. So like all over the world, and this happened to me via music. When I first signed up at mp3.com, or MySpace. It was called mp3.com, which was before MySpace, but it was like a platform for musicians. And I got a message, and this was like probably like 2000 or 2001, and I had uploaded some of my music, and I got a message from someone, and I don't remember the country, but I had to look it up because I didn't know where this country was. But it was a completely war-torn third world, I just imagine like tanks driving down this guy's street, and he's listening to my music in his little apartment. So I'm like, wow, man, that this individual was somewhat inspired by my music enough to send me a message about it, how much he liked it, and he's got all this crazy shit going on around him in his world and reality, but he's tuning into me. So like I just started to realize that again, it's like this spiderweb effect, all the whatever the cause or whatever the thought or whatever the interest is, now there's this huge group of people that are connected that were never ever connected before, and that just continues to happen,
right?
So, and to me, because again I am an optimist, I think that 99 point something of the human population wants the same thing. They want to be fed, clothed, and loved. Yeah. And so I think eventually, we're at the tip of the iceberg of this revolution, spurred on by technology. And I just think we're going to see incredible things. I think our kids are going to see incredible things, and so on and so on.
What do you think about SpaceX and Elon Musk? SpaceX.
SpaceX. I don't know this.
Okay, so Elon Musk, he is the inventor of the Tesla car.
Yeah.
He has his private space program, and he just sent one of his cars into space.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And his goal is to die on Mars, but not on impact.
Hey, man. Cool. I
mean, that's the world that we're living in now, that we have scientists and revolutionaries and these technologically advanced minds that want to advance humanity,
right?
Back to where we should be instead of where we are, because we've held ourselves back for 100 years on relying on fossil fuels and stuff like that. If we can collectively come together, and that's the beauty of the internet too, is you can see this stuff happening.
Right.
You're not in the dark about this stuff, because when a private organization like SpaceX starts making strides that NASA isn't doing, the government's like, what the shit? Why are you doing it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe that's what it's going to take.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of bumps and bruises along the way.
Absolutely.
As I think everybody's already recognized or is starting to recognize, but I mean, I think overall it's an awesome thing. That's why we're sitting here together today.
Right.
So it's cool, man.
Oh, man. Dude, Dave, you are awesome.
Oh, thanks, brother. You too, my friend.
Thanks a lot for coming out, Dave.
Hey, man, thank you for everything you're doing for the show and the Cleveland creative scene, and good luck with everything, man.
Well, good luck to you as well.
Awesome. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks, man. Hey, by the way, happy Big 5-0.
Oh, hey, thanks, man. And by the way, for your listeners, you can check me out at dreadlockdave.com.
There we go. There's the plug. Can they find you on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook too. Dreadlock Dave. You Google Dreadlock Dave, my picture will come up.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, thank you, brother.
You're listening to the CLE Show. Hang on.
makes it all worthwhile. You take me higher, you take me higher, you take me higher, you take me higher. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. If you've got the kind of time, I'd like to make you mine. You've got the kind of sweet, I'd like a tasty treat. You take me higher, 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 you take me higher. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. You've got the kind of thing that makes me wanna sing. You've got the kind of touch that gets me off so much. You take me higher, 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 you take me higher. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance. All I wanna do is dance with you. All I wanna do is dance.
Check, check. This isn't even fucking plugged into anything.
Not a bad way to spend the Sunday.
You're an inanimate fucking object!
You're listening to the CLE Show.
No, fuck off.
The sirens sound, we fade to black. now, but don't look back, cause you know that I am sick, fucking sick. Goddamn, thought I had it figured out, but I don't have a plan. I'm gonna need a minute, or you won't like what I say. I wrote it down, pulled it up and threw it all away, cause I'm sick, I'm a sick kid. I gave you all I could give. I wanna hold you like the earth is crumbling. Fire falls from the skin, walk on in broken souls, intertwining. I'm sick, fucking sick. Goddamn, thought I had it figured out, but I don't have a plan. There's a certain silence that is so sweet to the ears, but it's a sound I haven't heard in a million years. Cause I'm sick, I'm a sick kid. I gave you all I could give. I wanna hold you like the earth is crumbling. Fire falls from the skin, walk on in broken souls, intertwining. Lost in a vortex, we're counting the days till the earth is crumbling. Our souls intertwining. Lost, but I'll endure this pressure to get to you tonight. The truth is that I'm not sure if I'll make it out alive. Make it out alive. I wanna hold you like the earth is crumbling. As fire falls from the sky, our torn and broken souls are intertwining. I wanna hold you like the earth is crumbling. Fire falls from the skin, walk on in broken souls, intertwining. Lost in a vortex, we're counting the days till the earth is crumbling. Our souls intertwining.
Here's a brand new addition this week. This is A Sense of Purpose with Heirloom. You're listening to the CLE Show.
I
to my face.
For now we all go blind, that's cool with me, I'll be just fine. Wait for something to explode and fly, punch you in the fucking eye. Speak the truth, I'll tell the news, I'll stand behind you and use my boot. Snap, crack, bang, you're dead, cut you off with the
And in a moment of clarity, you see us the way we were meant to be. We opened the box that we stole from Pandora's own hands.
It's always
All right, we're about to call my mom and wish her a happy birthday. Always got to end the show on a positive note, right?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey,
Happy birthday.
thank you.
How's it feel?
No different.
Well, are you going to enjoy your cheesecake today?
I am. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. I have something for you, but I can't bring it to you until tomorrow.
Okay.
But yes.
What do you got for me?
See, you're like me.
Okay, there.
You're exactly like me. You can't wait. Just wait for the surprise.
Okay.
It'll be good, I promise. You'll love it. Well, happy birthday again to my mom. Thank you so much for listening in today and every week. Please, please, please hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. All you got to do is find that little box in the corner and touch it with your thumb. Then you get all the shows every single week as soon as I post them. Head over to the Facebook page at facebook.com/the CLE Show and hit like. Because if you've listened for this long, you obviously like the show. Thank you so much to Dreadlock Dave for meeting me at Art's Pub this week. That dude has a lot to say in life and in his music, so check it out, dreadlockdave.com. Thanks to Blind Joel Wallace for releasing his track with Tropidelic, Brother's Keeper, right here on the show. Thanks for calling in, bud. Can't wait to talk to you when you come back for Freak Stomp. Thank you to all the bands who submit your music. Without your music, this show just don't happen. Thank you to Feathers for the music bed. And most importantly, thanks to you. Got a little teaser for you. I'm going to have a little chat with Bone Thugs and Harmony on the show next week. So I'm going to close the show with some Bone Thugs. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. You're listening to the CLE Show. Later.
Tonight, I feel like sin I'm finna get into. But see, that's what the Hennessy and Jenna do. And I've been scoping, you already know I'm feeling you. Visualizing, fantasizing different ways to get into you. And I don't mean to come off cynical, I'm just being original. Let's skip all those subliminals, I'm the nigga you are. And you just what I need right now. As I breeze through the clouds, ain't no need to fly down. Come on, we should be to my house. Lovely, long time, come hop in my fly Mercedes. Baby, just for tonight, I beg you, man, you my lady. I know she's sneaky with it, but she freaky with it. So let's cut off the lights and me and you, we can get it. Straight up, I got my own little nasty girl to come and playing bones, nasty world.
Hands up high, let them stay there. Call them a state fair. Go fast, with no safety belt. Go fast, need no safety, baby. Hands up high, let them stay there. Oh, like a kind of a state fair. Go fast, need no safety belt. Go fast, need no safety belt.
You gotta love it when baby can do both. Cause I'm always on the move in a meeting or a show. In the boardroom, 750 million. She's so dope, only gold diggers know. Bitches only looking for a nigga with some dough. That's why I always keep a freak on the low. I'm having fun, but this shit was getting old. This the one that she told me that she'll never let me go. I can run you, climb you, about 69 you. Put you in a place for no one. If I'm black widow, I'm a widow. As I'm rolling down my window, know you really want my money. But I play 'em like Nintendo, but you cash that, all you can have that. Never seen a brother get his cash back. Who you laugh at? And we still smoking, we choking, blunt are wide open. Let's go.
Pop off then pass it, baby. Tonight you be my nasty, baby. We gon' be lit on some other shit. We gon' be lit on some other shit. Pop off then pass it, baby. Tonight you be my nasty, baby.